So, before we begin, I should make one thing perfectly clear. I'm definitely not hypnotizing you tonight. Nothing like that. You're completely in charge of deciding exactly how awake you'd like to remain. You can listen to every word, question every sentence, keep wondering whether something is actually happening. And I rather hope you do. There's something strangely comforting about not having to settle the question. You don't have to decide whether this is hypnosis, or relaxation, or simply a pleasant voice keeping you company while the day finishes folding itself away. Whatever happens is exactly right. You're safe. There's no test, no secret level, no moment where you suddenly realize you've been doing it wrong. Some people notice themselves becoming wonderfully still. Others find their thoughts wandering before they quietly wander somewhere else. Some stay aware of every word. Others discover little stretches they can't quite remember, simply because they became interested in resting instead of keeping track. Every one of those experiences is perfectly welcome. And if none of them happen, that is perfectly welcome too. You're not here to perform. You don't have to manage your breathing, your thoughts, or your imagination. Certainly not me. I'm simply here to keep talking, and you are welcome to keep listening, or not listening, or listening just enough to notice that my voice continues even when you stop paying close attention. The mind can become fascinated with trying to work out whether anything unusual is taking place, while the body quietly gets on with becoming a little warmer, a little softer, a little heavier, almost as though it isn't interested in solving the mystery at all. But that doesn't prove anything. It certainly doesn't mean you're being hypnotized. If anything, it probably just means you're tired. And if you happen to be very tired, then perhaps this can simply be somewhere you don't have to carry that tiredness by yourself for a little while. Where you don't have to hold everything together. Where you don't have to stay one step ahead of your own thoughts. You're welcome to keep checking, of course. Some people find that very reassuring. Although it's curious that the more carefully someone checks, the less work there seems to be left to do. But don't take my word for it. After all, I'm definitely not hypnotizing you. I'm just keeping you company while you remain completely free to notice whatever you notice and allow whatever happens to be exactly right. Now, there's absolutely no reason to become hypnotized. That would rather undermine my entire argument. So, if you'd like to remain completely aware, please do. You might even enjoy noticing just how awake you are. You can notice your breathing, or ignore it. Notice how your body feels, or become interested in something else entirely. There's no correct place for your attention to be. You're welcome to keep following every word, or only every other word, or simply notice the little spaces between them. Those quiet moments where nothing particularly needs to happen. Not because they're hypnotic. Of course not. Just because pauses have a funny way of making everything else feel a little softer. You're still completely in charge. You can decide to stay wonderfully alert. Although I've always found it interesting that people rarely notice the exact moment alertness begins feeling pleasantly comfortable, and comfort begins feeling pleasantly quiet. Not asleep. Less interested in working quite so hard. Your mind can keep asking questions if it likes. Curiosity is welcome. Skepticism is welcome. An analytical mind is one of my favorite companions because it loves patterns. It loves catching contradictions. Like this one. I'm telling you nothing hypnotic is happening, while inviting you to notice whether your shoulders have quietly settled just a little. And not because I asked them to. I didn't. I merely wondered whether they already had. Perhaps your hands feel exactly as they did a minute ago. And perhaps they're beginning to soften into whatever they're resting on. Neither answer is more correct. The funny thing about trying to notice relaxation is that trying itself eventually becomes rather unnecessary. Because effort has a way of becoming heavier than simply allowing. And heavy. Heavy is such an interesting word. Heavy blankets. Heavy eyelids. Heavy limbs after a very long day. Not uncomfortable. Quite the opposite. The sort of heaviness that whispers, you don't have to hold yourself up anymore. You can, of course. Or you can notice how pleasant it feels when the chair, or the bed, or the pillows quietly volunteer to do that job instead. They're very reliable. Far more reliable than overthinking. Although overthinking deserves some kindness too. It has worked very hard for you. It learned that if it stayed awake, if it kept checking, it kept preparing, perhaps nothing important would be missed. And that was a thoughtful thing for your mind to learn. So we don't need to argue with it tonight. We don't need to silence it. Instead, perhaps it can just keep watching. Keep listening. Keep deciding that absolutely nothing unusual is happening. While another part of you, the one that doesn't need to explain itself, quietly begins to melt, just a little. And that's right. Soften just enough. No need to decide whether that's because of my voice or because you were already ready to rest. Either explanation is perfectly acceptable. I'm still definitely not hypnotizing you, and you're still doing such a lovely job of remaining completely not hypnotized. Well, just making sure you're comfortable. You seem comfortable. That's nice. You're safe, and whatever happens is exactly right. I had something clever I was going to say. No, it's gone. I suppose it couldn't have been very important. See, thoughts don't always need to stay. Some of them simply visit for a while and then quietly wander off. And if one happens to leave, there's really no rush to chase after it. You are becoming remarkably good at not being hypnotized. I hope you're proud of yourself. I know I am. Because if someone were trying terribly hard to stay completely awake, they probably wouldn't look quite so comfortable. I imagine your shoulders have settled a little more. Or perhaps they've always been that relaxed. It's difficult to tell now. Funny how memories become a little soft around the edges. No need to decide. Time behaves strangely when nothing particularly important needs to happen. Minutes become soft, almost fluffy, as though time itself has curled up beneath the blanket and decided to stop keeping score for a while. You don't have to keep every thought. You don't have to finish every sentence. And you certainly don't have to solve every little mystery. Your clever mind has done such a beautiful job. And perhaps that's why it feels a little tired. Just finished with today's work. Like someone gently placing their keys on a table, taking off a coat, closing the front door, and realizing with a quiet little sigh that there really isn't anything else they need to be doing tonight. A nice, solid door already closed. Nothing on the other side needs your attention. Nothing is knocking. Nothing is waiting. Just this room, this blanket, this quiet little corner of the night. And my voice, still definitely not hypnotizing you. Although, if someone happened to drift a little deeper every time I denied it, that would be an awfully inconvenient coincidence, wouldn't it? Darling, don't answer that. Some questions become more comfortable when they're allowed to remain unanswered. Have you noticed how much work you've stopped doing? Not because anyone told you to stop. It simply seems that something inside you realized it didn't have to keep holding everything quite so tightly. And the moment it noticed that, everything softened, just a little. Melted, just a little. Sank, just a little. You're resting so well. There's a difference. Doing implies effort. Resting doesn't ask anything from you. It simply welcomes you exactly as you are. I should probably be careful. If I keep talking like this, someone might think I'm hypnotizing you. And we've already agreed that's definitely not what's happening. Oh, I know. Let's settle this properly. Not with opinions, just a tiny experiment. Because if I'm definitely not hypnotizing you, then we should be able to prove it. The rules? There aren't any. Just notice. Or don't. The first word is soften. Nothing happened. I expected as much. Although it is curious how many people accidentally become a little more comfortable after hearing that word. Shall we try another? heavy. Still inconclusive, although blankets do seem to become mysteriously heavier at night. During the day, they're just blankets. Then evening arrives, and somehow they become wonderfully persuasive. I blame the blanket, not me. The next word is melt. There it is, again. Nothing. And yet some people hear that word and think of candle wax, or butter on warm toast, or chocolate left melting in the sun. Which one arrived for you? No need to tell me. It already belongs to you. And drift. Drifting has always seemed less like something a person does, and more like something that quietly happens when nothing is pulling them quite so firmly toward staying exactly where they were. Not asleep, not yet. Simply less interested in rowing upstream. You are exceptionally good at this experiment. All we've discovered is that you are becoming increasingly comfortable while continuing to insist that nothing unusual is happening. What exactly were we trying to prove? It was important a moment ago. I'm certain of it. Oh well, it can't have mattered very much. You're safe. Whatever happens is exactly right. And because this is only an experiment, you're welcome to stop paying attention whenever you like. Rooms remember. Sit quietly in the same room often enough, and eventually the room begins remembering for you. It remembers how to become still. It remembers where the quiet lives. And after a while, you don't have to remember any of that yourself. You simply arrive, and the room gently says, "Oh, I know how this goes." Not hypnosis, certainly not. Just a room, a blanket, and a voice, all quietly remembering how to rest until you don't have to remember quite so hard anymore. People are very strange about rest. We treat it like a reward, something to deserve, something to finally allow ourselves once every list has been finished, every message answered, every problem solved, every tomorrow rehearsed. It seems like an awful lot of paperwork just to curl up under a blanket. Blankets certainly don't ask for receipts, or references, or a very convincing explanation. They simply open their arms and quietly say, "Oh, there you are." Not "there you should have been," just "there you are." As though that were already enough. I wonder how many things you've been carrying today. Not just in your hands, those invisible things, little conversations that never really ended, tiny worries tucked up into the corners of your thoughts. Your mind has such a generous heart. It keeps trying to make tomorrow easier, keeps checking the locks, running the same conversation one more time, just in case. And that's rather sweet of it. It's been trying to protect you. But I think its shift might be over now. Just because even the kindest caretaker eventually deserves someone else to sit beside the door for a while. And maybe tonight, the room can keep watch. The blankets can keep watch. The quiet can keep watch. And your busy mind can come inside. Imagine a little house, very late at night, one lamp still glowing. Someone standing at the front window, making absolutely certain everyone has made it home safely. Checking once more, just to be sure. Then, without any fuss, they smile to themselves, switch off the light, lock the door, and walk deeper into the warmth of the house. Not because the world disappeared, but there simply comes a moment when love stops looking out the window and comes home. The experiment has been terribly successful, although I still can't remember what we were trying to prove. And perhaps that was never really the point. Perhaps the nicest experiments are the ones that quietly become evenings. And the nicest evenings are the ones where no one notices exactly when the conversation turns into comfortable silence. You've become wonderfully easy to spend time with. There's no effort here anymore. No performance. No trying. Just you becoming more and more yourself. The version of you that exists when no one is asking anything from you. And that is my favorite version. And if your thoughts happen to wander away for stretches, that's perfectly all right. I'll still be here when they come back. If they come back. No rush. No need to decide. Besides, I'm still very busy making absolutely certain that I continue not hypnotizing you. You don't have to listen quite so hard anymore. Because there really isn't anything to miss. If a sentence slips by, I'll still be here. If a thought wanders away, it knows the way back. If you forget what I just said, perhaps it simply wasn't meant to stay. There's a tiny part of you still making sure you're listening correctly. Still checking whether you're missing something important. Hello, I know you're there. You've been working all evening, very quietly, very faithfully. Thank you. Really. You've done enough. Not for forever, just for tonight. I can keep talking. You don't have to catch every word. Some of them can simply float past you. Like leaves drifting down a quiet stream. Beautiful, even when you don't count them. I don't think I've been talking to your busy mind for quite a while now. I think it's been listening from another room. Still nearby. Still safe. Just no longer standing right at the front. Everyone deserves a break from the front desk eventually. When people stop trying to decide, they often start noticing entirely different things. The warmth beneath a blanket, the gentle weight beneath their hands, the quiet rhythm of breathing that seems perfectly content without supervision, the delicious feeling of no longer being responsible for the next thought. You don't have to make one. You don't have to stop one. If another thought arrives, and it will. If it doesn't, that seems equally polite. No need to decide. Maybe I tell you a secret. I don't think the room needs us anymore. It's already doing that quiet thing it does. Holding the silence. Holding the warmth. Holding the space between words so neither of us has to. You're surprisingly gentle too. Underneath all the planning and checking and carrying, there's someone remarkably soft-hearted. Someone who has spent so long taking care of everything else, they've almost forgotten what it feels like to simply be held. So for a little while longer, let the room hold you. Let the blanket hold you. Let the quiet hold you. And if it feels nice, perhaps you can let my voice hold your place so you don't have to. Just for tonight. No need to decide. I will remember for us. I'm still, very definitely, not hypnotizing you. I think we've reached the place where being finished doesn't seem terribly important anymore. Everything feels settled. The room has gone wonderfully quiet. The blanket appears to be doing excellent work, and I rather admire that. I have the nicest feeling that you're exactly where you need to be. Because you stopped asking yourself to carry quite so much. And that suits you. It really does. I finally remembered what we were trying to prove. No, it doesn't matter. Somewhere along the way, the question became so much less interesting than the feeling of simply being here. There really isn't anything left to decide tonight. Not whether you're awake, not whether you're dreaming, not whether you heard every word, not whether this was anything at all. Whatever happened was exactly right. Exactly enough. Thank you for being such gentle company. I'm glad someone remembered to take care of you for a little while. Tomorrow, your wonderfully busy mind will almost certainly wake up and begin explaining all of this. It may decide that you were simply tired. It may insist nothing unusual happened. And I think we should try to let it. It likes having a story. And honestly, it's not entirely wrong. You were tired. Nothing unusual happened. You found a warm room, a patient blanket, a quiet voice, and somewhere without anyone making a fuss about it. The day quietly ended. So no more experiments, no more mysteries, no more trying to prove anything. I'll stay here for just a little while longer. Not because you need me to, just because it feels like a kind thing to do. Until the room takes over. Until the blankets take over. Until sleep forgets to tell either of us the exact moment it arrived. And if you happen to drift away before I finish proving that I definitely, absolutely did not hypnotize you, well, I suppose we'll never know. Good night, darling.